Hey, big head.
So after Ravenswood, after you graduate, you say you went to San Jose State.
I did.
Okay. What was your major, and how was the experience in San Jose around this time?
All right, it's about to get ugly.
I'm ready for it. I'm here for it.
Okay. San Jose State. I chose San Jose State because I was afraid to go to Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten recruited by some Ivy League schools, and I was not ready to leave home, leave high school sweetheart. So I went to San Jose State, and I majored in journalism,
Mm-hmm.
and quickly got the name Lois Lane from my dorm mates.
Uh-huh.
And I loved the college experience that first semester, the excitement of being away from home, but not far away from home. I could like go to my grandparents' house for the weekend and have them feed me and then come back, develop my first side hustle in the dorms because I was one of the few sisters that could cook. And when the dining commons closed on the weekend, but you got a little hot plate,
right?
Yes, I had an agreement with one of the football players that I would cook a Sunday dinner if he would pick up the washing machine and tilt it so that the quarters fell back in.
I'm not too sure who won that deal, but it seemed like both parties walked away pretty happy with it.
Win. I'm socialist like that. I believe in everybody coming up. So that first semester was a ton of fun. We had a ping pong table in downstairs at my dorm, and I had learned to play ping pong from my grandfather as a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't pity pat with me. So, and my mother had a serve that would hurt my ears. So I learned quick how to return serve,
right,
how to play. And when they had a ping pong tournament and I won, and I ended up beating a guy who became a backup quarterback for the 49ers, people were like, okay, we see you.
We know who to call when stakes are high,
Yeah. When money's on the line, go get Lois Lane.
Now, did you eventually graduate from San Jose State, or is this when you moved to Washington, D.C.?
This is when I moved to Washington, D.C. a couple of years later, because in the fall of the latter part of 1975, we were still in the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
And brothers were being sent back home and trying to re-enter the system. And they weren't coming back the same way that they went. They were coming back impossibly damaged and not knowing how to deal with that. There weren't services. There wasn't the kinds of therapies and concern. And you see that with Vietnam vets today. They are the veterans that caught the most hell and got the least help.
Mm-hmm.
And so, long story short, there was a brother that came back to San Jose State through the reentry program. And I happened to encounter him on the street, and he was looking confused because he had this paper in his hand. I was like, can I help you? He's like, yeah, I don't know. And it had a class form. And so we had walked over to Jack in the Box, and we were sitting down, and I was helping him navigate his admissions and his class schedule and letting him know where things on the buildings were. And he said, thank you. And then fast forward to November 75, it was midterms, and I was going from my dorm through the parking lot of another dorm to get to the library. Mm-hmm. I was going to do some studying, and there was a car that pulled up behind me, and somebody said, Tama, is that you? I turned around, It's like, yeah. It's like, it's his name. And he said, why are you out here at night? Because this is not safe.
Right.
Where are you going? So I'm going over to the library. Come on, I'll take you there. And then he had his partner in the back seat. Fast forward, he ended up not taking me to the library. He dropped his partner off at his apartment, and I was loudly protesting and cursing him out, but he ended up raping me. And oddly enough, the street that he ended up raping me on was the same street where I went to junior high school. And I remember seeing a police car, because I had tried to get out and I was almost out of the car. And then, because I was talking to him, because I went into survival mode. And once I realized that he was crazy, I thought, you need to live to see tomorrow. So how are we going to do this? Intellect. That's your fallback. Let's do that.
Right.
And so I'm engaging him, and I'm turning my back to the passenger side because I'm easing up the lock, because I'm making plans. As soon as the car stops, I'm going to throw the door open, jump out, start screaming, and I'm free.
Mm-hmm.
And he had pulled on this one side street, and I had everything in place. I had the lock done. I had the door kind of open. I was just waiting for my moment, because he was running off at the mouth, all kinds of madness, just rambling. And I picked my moment, and I threw the door open, and I started screaming at the top of my lungs. And I remember a light went on behind me, and a light went on across the street, and nothing happened. And I was 98% out of the car. He caught me by my left wrist, dragged me back in the car, hit me, and told me that if I tried it again, he was going to kill me. And I believed him. And so he drove me to McLaughlin Road in San Jose, and told me if I made a sound, because there was a field, there's a big empty field, and coming towards us was a police car. And I was too afraid to scream again, because I didn't want to take the chance of losing again. Mm-hmm. So I just set myself to survive the rape and get back home. And I did. It was an out-of-body experience. But after he was done, he did something that made me know that he was batshit crazy. He backed out of the car, because he raped me in the back seat. He backed out of the car, full view of traffic, naked from the waist down, to pull up his pants, and then get back in the front seat. And I said, oh, this is real. You aren't free yet, because this person is not only a monster, he's crazy. Mm-hmm. How do you do this? And I remember Music Soothes the Savage Beast. There was no music, but I could modulate my tone and just talk and talk and talk and talk, because he was asking me questions about my relationship with my high school sweetheart, and what was tonight going to do to that relationship, and could he possibly see me again? And I am just throwing this net of words over him just to kind of keep him calm and keep him driving me back to the dorm. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, I'm memorizing every detail I can, because it's also in the back of my head that you're crazy enough to do this again, but you're not going to get away with it with me. I always knew I was going to press charges
Mhm.
and that we were going to end up in court. And I think the most perilous time was when we had pulled up in front of my dorm and I had to get out of the car and keep going. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull that off because the shock was wearing off and I could feel myself about to crumble. And so I'm having a conversation with him and I'm having a conversation with myself. Keep it together, Tama, keep it together. And I did. And I got into the downstairs part of my dorm and everything just kind of got real fuzzy and faded. I got up to my dorm room. I kept it together long enough to call my grandmother and call my mother, have them come get me. And we called the police. Moving the story forward, this is 75. There are no rape counselors in 1975.
Mhm.
There are no aftercare services. I had to go to the hospital and just do the whole rape kit thing. And I learned very quickly that there's never enough water.
Mm.
There's never enough water. And cops came by. They had pictures for me to look at. I caught a white cop that looked like Billy Bob Thornton, brush cut, blonde hair. If you looked at his picture now, you would say Proud Boy, except that cop put his career on the line for me to chase down this man up and down the state. So I had my boyfriend looking for him on one level, and then I had the legal people looking for him on another level, chasing him down out of jurisdiction. And when they did finally catch him, they said, it is a good thing that you did what you did because there was a gun.